Welcome back. You're watching NewsX with me, Devika Devan, and we have some important news coming in. Fake news about the Indian embassy in Kabul being attacked is being spread online as we speak. A reverse image search done by NewsX has shown that this is an 11-year-old image of an LET attack on the Indian consulate in Herat. Earlier, Pakistani bots had also spread fake news about a Rafale jet being shot down during the India-Pakistan conflict of May 2025. But imagine this is what accounts in Pakistan are currently up to. And we take this, let's do this live, in fact, this exercise. This is the tweet that our team found. Firstly, that was trending in India, that news that you see on your screens, 1,455 posts with a hashtag Indian embassy attack. However, this was one of the profiles that started to spread this news, and it says Taliban was India's friends besides Israel, or so we were told by the Modi government, hashtag Indian embassy attack. And this is the image that has been attached with it, which says Indian embassy attacked in Kabul, Afghanistan. Now, I'm just going to do a quick exercise before I bring in my guests as well, viewers. What you need to understand is that technology today can help us so much. I've just saved this image in front of you. Now I'm going to go to Google Images and I'm just going to drop this image here. Okay, just drag and drop, and Google will now tell me where exactly this image is from. Right here, you get all these articles previously written that have shared the exact same image, and I'm going to open up some of these links to tell you when this image is actually from. Imagine this is an image from 2014. We're now in 2025. The attack on the Indian consulate in Western Afghanistan's Herat province on Friday. So this is an image that is now being used. Afghan troops fight gunmen near the Indian consulate in the north, right? So this is just to tell you, viewers, that we can use technology to our advantage today to understand that there are people out there who want to spread fake news, but you don't need us, you don't need fact checkers and others to actually do this job. You can do it yourselves at home. So the moment you get this sort of news and it starts trending online, I think it's imperative that all of us play a certain role in teaching others how is it that you can figure out whether something is fake or not. This is an image from 11 years ago, used in multiple news articles from India and across the world, which talk about an attack on the Indian consulate in the Herat province of Afghanistan. But imagine this same image has been used to start a trending hashtag in India saying hashtag Indian embassy attack, and several people have started using the same image. You can see Kabul attack on Indian embassy, a cowardly attack 1 hour ago. All of these, some of them are also accounts with a blue tick, surprisingly. My God, accounts of blue ticks are also not performing their due diligence, and they're going ahead and sharing images and more news. This is what happens though in the sort of world that we live in. My colleague Ajay Jandyal with us on the broadcast. Ajay, quickly take our viewers through the details. How exactly did we pick up on this trending news? Ajay, can you hear me? Okay, I've lost that line with Ajay, but as we're speaking, viewers, this continues to be trending in India still. The hashtag Indian embassy attack, it now has 1,744 posts on X as we speak. So continues to be trending. I have Sumit Peer with us. I see Major General Gigi Dwivedi as well, and I also have with me on the broadcast Ambassador Suresh Kumar Goyal. Let me begin with Sumit Peer. Sumit, why is it that there are accounts which are also operating out of India that have decided to now start spreading this fake news in the middle of the night, as we of course go into the night rather from the evening?
Devgaji, thanks for having me on your show. I think it started from the day when our Honorable Deputy Chief of Indian Army clearly said what happened in Operation Sindhu. There were around 4 countries involved. He named 3, he didn't name the 4th one, which we can assume and presume which it can be. He clearly named China, he named Chinese intel, he named Chinese everything was involved, and they were hand in glove with Pakistan. Then we have very recently, around 2-3 hours back, we have Asim Munir coming and saying, no, China has nothing to do with it. China was not involved. Parallelly, we have a report which is in one of the leading publications, which happens to be a competitor. They also have a publication. They published a report saying that, Chinese embassies across the world were used to fall, their defense attaches were used to, run this malicious propaganda. Rafale has failed. Chinese equipment has drowned a Rafale, and Rafales are of no use. When all this is coming back on a circle, then there's a meme factory of the world. The meme factory of the world is run by ISI, that is ISPR, Inter-Services PR, which his job is to run these false propagandas, mail these fake tweets and run them around the world. Now, that is how they have come up with these gizmos. One is that India admits that Rafale has been lost. Second is this Indian embassy is being attacked. They are trying to say that India is in a very dire state. India is losing friends and allies. On the contrary, when you look at BRICS, all the nations have got together, including Muslim countries, and they have condemned this Pakistan-sponsored terror in Pahalgam. And they have said, we will not only condemn it, we'll work and develop mechanisms to stop terror financing and terror abetting, which in a way directly indicates to China, which has been trying to block all these terrorists in United Nations and all. When these things happen, now they don't have anything to counterfactually. What does ISPR do? ISPR resorts to making these memes. That's why I call them the meme factory. They're fake memes, fake photos, and try to get them propagated and see, India is really losing. India has no friends. We are lost in the diplomatic circles of the world. We can claim anything, but the things are different at the ground. This is sheer frustration of Pakistan's ISPR. And exactly, Devikaji, when you have an organization with few hundred people who are just being paid every month to run false propaganda, this is the byproduct, this is the product which you get. All their claims of what they did in India, all have been whacked. All their what they said, we have joined 5 jets and all, they don't have a shred of evidence. And I want to question one thing on NewsX. If at all, for a second, if you have drowned our jets, when you are all Chinese satellites were looking at us, when you would tell us don't launch this vector because we don't, DGMO sir, you're launching this vector, why didn't your good friend Chinese give you the photo of the wreckage? Where did the photos of the wreckage go? That is the question where they were asked. When Pakistan and China jointly are getting exposed, Devgaji, they have nothing but to come up with fake images, fake propaganda, and try to run it some way and try to make it look new and fresh and try to create dissonance. They are trying to hide their failures which have been called out. They are trying to hide the success we had in BRICS. They are trying to hide, their failures at a global stage, which were there. She never turned up at BRICS, and Iran never turned up. So, how kind of bilaterals we are having, the kind of success we are getting, they don't know how to fathom this thought of India rising and really getting the support of even Muslim-dominated majority countries with it. That is where their biggest problem is, and they are getting isolated and called out at all the international platforms. Then the best thing resort, come up with photocopied images, take an image, Photoshop it, use an old image and have all these things run. And as far as the blue ticks are concerned, it today costs, I don't know how many dollars a year. Anybody can get a blue tick and they can be a part of their ISPR running propaganda. And then if Pakistan, celebrities, cricketers, those so-called actors and those all-called media influencers, they can be under the leash of ISPR. So to have a tweet run few thousand tweets, likes and retweets is not difficult, but what you rightly said, we have to be aware of it. We have to do our basic fact checking ourselves, and there are tools, even a basic Google check will tell you this is an old image. So this is how you call out their bluff. They are trying to create dissonance and hide their failures, which have been called out and exposed at a global stage, Devikaji.
Right, absolutely. I want to, before I go back to our guest, Ajay is back with us on the broadcast. Ajay, take our viewers through more details. I believe that an official fact check has also been performed on this news.
Yes, you rightly said, because authorities in India, they always believe that they have to check everything, whatever is coming, and especially when it is circulating in the social media. And what we have seen that now even people, some of the people, the general public, they also started reacting on the same. Some of them, they are just retweeting or sharing this, that Indian embassy in Kabul is attacked and it is painful, it is brutal. But the reality, when people have checked, and even if you, as Sumit Peer also says that, this is the basic thing what can do. One can do is that they simply goes to the Google, and they can Google can tell you the truth, that what is happened. But somebody is running this propaganda means that somebody is facing the pain after this India and Kabul, India and Afghanistan relation basically is improving or going ahead. So they must be feeling that pain, and that is the reason that they are doing this propaganda, sharing these old images by saying that Indian embassy in Kabul is attacked. But yes, authorities in India, they are also going to clarify it. But before authorities will clarify, what we can see on the social media as well, that people themselves started sharing this information, that how things are improving. And as we are showing, as Sumit Peerji also says that this is the basic thing one can do. And definitely we have to counter the propaganda of these foolish people, those who are doing this.
Absolutely. Let me bring in Ambassador Goyal into the conversation before going to Major Anjali Dwivedi. Ambassador Goyal, I want to understand from you. There will now be a consistent effort, Ambassador Goyal, to create some sort of a problem between India and Afghanistan, because Pakistan clearly in a very tricky situation as far as their relation with the Taliban is concerned. So how exactly does, or rather how exactly should India navigate in the coming months?
Devika, when I heard about all this, the first thing that came to my mind, I'm sure that all of us Indians have heard of it from Mahabharata. Do you remember the famous line, Avshathama Hato, Narova Kunjaravam? Have you heard of it? Which basically meant that Yudhishthir, who is supposed to be telling the truth always, he would speak the truth, but basically to be able to guide the war in a particular direction. And he goes and he screams, Ashwathama is dead. We do not know whether the man or the elephant. Devika, the reason I'm quoting this thing is that right from the days of Mahabharata, we Indians have been aware of the misinformation and the power of misinformation, the way it can change not just the narrative, the way it can change the direction of the war. The wars can be lost and won just by one bit of misinformation. And therefore, what I want to tell you, I don't want to go into all this rigmarole about who is doing what kind of handle, blue tick, this tick, all that can be managed. All I want to tell you is that as diplomats, when we begin our training, we are told that we must check and cross check our sources of information. Even the narratives which come our way through all kinds of sources, all of us really are trained to look at the information with a bit of doubt and suspicion till it has been checked and referenced and cross-referenced. And therefore, all I want to say at this stage is, don't worry about Afghanistan. Our relations with Afghanistan are not going to be affected or misaffected by this kind of wrong or misinformation or narrative. The government in Afghanistan knows what we are about, and we know what they are about, and we know what Pakistan is doing. They know what Pakistan is doing. Therefore, I can be comfortably sure that maybe social media could mislead, maybe public could read something different, but those who are operating in the area, on those who are actually implementing the policies, they know. And they know and they check and everything. Therefore, through you, to the people, I just want to reassure them, please don't be misled. But even if for some reason wrong information is coming your way, people who are professionals dealing with this area, they check and cross check and they are not easily misled. Devika.
Okay, Major and Vivedi, your thoughts on the same side. Is this an attempt to create a rift or some sort of a, few hours of online chaos between India and Afghanistan? Of course, eventually this would have been fact checked and the real news would come out. But what exactly does one get out of doing this?
Well, Devika, first and foremost, we need to understand that we are today in the era of information warfare. And information warfare comprises of misleading, and this is China's policy. And China's policy is of three warfares, and that is information warfare, legal warfare, and propaganda. So, ironically, we are not actually going very deep into how the Chinese are orchestrating this whole game. And therefore, 3-4 points I wish to make. First and foremost, follow very clearly what is going on inside China. And I think you are discussing this issue in your last debate, that whenever there is some kind of turmoil inside China, then these Chinese become very active. And they try to paint a very, kind of a chaotic picture about the neighborhood. Secondly, Chinese and Pakistan army, they are on the same page. And therefore, they orchestrate these issues through the information warfare. Now we need to have very clear mechanism as how to counter. See, average person is not going to counter it because he has no time to fact check. So we need to have a mechanism how to cross check and how to actually bring the facts on the for the public. So the point at issue is such games are going to go on. This is not the first time that is going to happen. It is going to happen more repeatedly because we are seeing very turbulent environment. And Pakistan today is actually facing the heat from Afghanistan. Chinese are not able to, pursue their agenda, and they are feeling the heat from US on the tariffs. So how they are going to counter all this? And this is through the information warfare. And my last point is we need to be proactive. We need to actually anticipate that such things are going to happen because today's wars are hybrid wars. They are being fought on the battlefield, they are being fought on the diplomatic tables, and they have also been fought on the information domain. So therefore, we need to sensitize the public and also have a mechanism as to how to counter such activities by the hostile neighborhood.
Absolutely. So, with bringing you back, PIB has not yet fact checked this particular trending news, but just a few hours ago, they had put out another fact check where a claim was being made that India admits Rafale pilot loss, that several Pakistani propaganda handles were spreading false claims that India has officially confirmed the loss of 4 IAF pilots, including those flying 3 Rafale jets. But this was completely fake news. There was no such statement that was made. And of course, there was a call to not fall for such misinformation. Clearly, Sumit, we do live in times where the information warfare just never stops. You never sleep as far as the internet is concerned. Do we now need to focus on building certain mechanisms that can help people really assess the truthfulness of information? Because given the sheer number of people we have, like I said, while we were having this conversation, there are more and more posts with the same hashtag Indian Embassy attacked, and I don't see a lot of people right now on X talking about how this is fake news. So do we now need to really come up with some sort of mechanisms that can help people to assess real time?
I think, Devika ji, you have nailed it because the reason is when you have a country of 1.4 billion, today it might be an attack on the Indian embassy. Tomorrow they might create a dishonest attack on this temple, this mosque or this Gurdwara, which can flare up passions very, very fast. So this might be even a trial run by them. How soon can they flare up the passions? Look, Pakistani YouTubers and all were put in the game for this day only. At the right point of time, they'll be used to create this dissonance. It's very important for us to really have those mechanisms in place where we can easily and very, very quickly call up the bluff. For example, if you look at even, I'm slightly going out of the context. If I was watching the NATO chief today, he said if you want to put 5% of your budget for the defense, 3.5, 70% of that will go to the hardcore defense. Now you have to put another 10% for this cyber warfare. what I call it typically information warfare, cyber warfare, and another 10-20% for your internal security. So even if you're at a NATO level and at the level of Europe and America's combo, they're realizing the importance of the cyber warfare, this narrative games which are being played. Look, after Operation Sindoor, Pakistan got whacked. They were beaten black and blue. But for first few days, they were really trying to control the narrative. They have won. I mean, for the sake of God, if you're what Rafales are you talking about? Where are the pilots? Didn't your friendly neighborhood China give you the wreckage? If you look at Rahul Singh ji, what Lieutenant General Rahul Singh sir, he was saying that when we were able to launch a vector, the Pakistani DGMO said, don't launch this vector because we know you're going to launch this. Now, if Chinese were giving you this amount of information at a real-time basis, then put all their spy satellites watching us, then why didn't Chinese tell you where is the wreckage? Then why didn't Chinese give you a picture of the wreckage? Because the fact remains there is no wreckage. There was nothing like that. You have drowned some of our drones which we sent for area reconnaissance, which you wanted to check your anti-aircraft guns and your air defense positions. Yes, they were meant for that. But beyond that, you are running propaganda. Today, why you are rattled? Because we are calling your friend China directly. Chinese equipment is failing, and Chinese, possibly we jammed their satellites and their signals, and even what you call as a telemetry data, which was going through their missiles for some point of time. That's my assumption. And even looking at the situation. So when these things are coming out, and after that, we really admitted by our Deputy Army Chief, yes, we fought 3 nations together. There was also 4th one, which we are not naming. Still, we could whack them. And look, India is really talking of placing an order of 40,000 crores under this DAC procurement, which will be very fast track, and you are acquiring those drones, minesweepers, spy planes. It's all in the media what I'm quoting. I'm not giving any confidential information. So these things are happening. So when the India is really countering on all the things, and when these delegations went to all the countries, you don't know how to counter that. When our, Lieutenant General Rana ji, who heads the military intelligence, he called these defense attaches of 76 countries in Delhi and showed them the proof. What did we do in Operation Sindoor? Our delegations went to so many countries, and now all the imagery is out. American experts, British experts, everybody is saying Pakistan got whacked, and now we are saying yes, China was with them. Yes, we are saying Turkey was with them, and we are saying there was one more country which we are not naming right now due to whatever reasons. Now, when these kind of damages are happening, on the top of that, in BRICS, we have a very major win. Everybody is condemning, terror and terror supporters and terror perpetrators, and in this, even the Muslim countries are coming with us. Now Pakistan is really rattled. They don't know what to do. The best, when Pakistan gets crazy, because Devgaji, what was the need of Asim Munir to come and say this never happened? Why did Asim Munir need to react to our Deputy Army Chief's, Deputy Sir's, Rahul Singh Ji's statement? Because he knows he's exposed. He knows the failed Field Marshal is exposed. So he wants to cover his backside and also cover China. Say, no, China was not with us. When the things are out in the open, the best thing they could have done, they suddenly went to ISPR. They started, 5 Rafale jets found, drowned, 4 pilots lost and all that. When our DGMO air clearly says all of our pilots are safe, that ends the story. So where the hell did Pakistanis get this information? And whatever is happening, Devgaji, it is in cahoots with China, because China would have told them run this propaganda. And there are articles out today wherein China uses all its embassies to have this malicious propaganda going on that Chinese weapons could drown French Rafales, which is not true. I mean, when you join all the dots, you understand where this all is coming from. And the best way, when you can't win a war, at least try to win the narratives, at least try to create the dissonance. That is what they are doing. But for us, answering your question in very specific, yes, we must have mechanisms. We must be able to cross-check them and cannot debunk them in less than 30 minutes or less than an hour. We should not let these rumors go into the population. We should not let them become, those talking points in the population when none of this happened. Because today they might try with this, tomorrow they might be in a highly religious sensitive issue. So that is where our guards has to be very, very up, because this might be even a POC for something which they are planning in the near future, Devkaji.
Okay, all right. On that note, I've completely run out of time, but I thank all of our guests for joining us on the broadcast to take this conversation forward, and hopefully we've performed our part as far as countering fake news is concerned. On that note, viewers, a very short break.